Greetings, adventurers. Thank you for joining me on this slightly longer than usual video. It's not your average short, but I want to really go into these expansions for the Heroes of Barcadia game. We got the seasonal expansion for the Halloween expansion pack, and then we've got the Creepy Crawlies, the Booze Ooze. Now, when I made the purchase, they were doing a special thing where they also included a Bottomless Booze Ooze special room monster. And it's pretty tough. You've got to roll a 16 or better on that d20, or you suffer 15 hit points. And it does say that upon victory, you get to fill your health bar cup to the full line. So if you do beat it, it is very much worth it. So that being said, let's go ahead and open up the Booze Ooze Invasion expansion. Now, the Booze Ooze is one of the terrifying monsters that is in the game of Heroes of Barcadia. They also do have a little plushie for it, and it is adorable. So in here, I did already open it up. I was very excited. I wanted to look over everything. And besides, this way it gave me a chance to open it up and take a look at it, so it almost seems like I know what I'm talking about as far as what comes in the expansion pack. So you get 5 of these little Booze Ooze Invasion Meeples. Now, you can choose to put them in your dungeon standing up, or you can have them laying down on the job. Either which way, they're a puddle of goose. I mean, does it really matter? You have this here instruction sheet with rules and more rules. But the rules are actually kind of fun. But it also does come with 15 loot cards. So you'd be thinking, hey, loot cards, those are going to be fun things to use in the dungeon to help you overcome monsters or mess with other players. Well, this is really just the second category, because all 15 cards are the same. It is the Booze Ooze Invasion. And when you draw and play a Booze Ooze Invasion card, you can do one of two things. If you do not have any Booze Oozes in your dungeon, that's these Booze Oozes, not the other regular room tile Booze Ooze. If you don't have any, you can place one in the dungeon. If there is already one in the dungeon, instead of placing one, you can instead move it up to 3 adjacent rooms. So, yeah, fun. And it does say play between turns. So you can't interrupt somebody's turn, and you can't play it during your turn. But as soon as somebody wraps up their turn and says it's somebody else's turn, you get that card out there, and you place your Booze Ooze. Now, the thing is if all 5 of them are already in the dungeon, then you don't have any more to place. You just move one that's already in the dungeon. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how does one defeat such a Booze Ooze? Well, let's get into that. So, players, whenever an ooze enters the same room as them, or you enter a room with a Booze Ooze and you need to place your glass there, you take 5 hit points of damage automatically. If a player is already in the same room as an ooze at the start of their turn, they must roll the die. If they roll a 10 or higher, the ooze is removed from the dungeon and the player draws 1 loot card, which could very well be more ooze. If you roll less than 10, you take 5 hit points of damage. Now, if all 5 oozes are already in the dungeon, you may only use the loot card to move existing ones. I already covered that. All right, oozes may be moved into occupied rooms, but they may not be placed in them. So you can't take one from outside the dungeon and place it in right on one of your opponents. You can put it right next, in the room right next to them, but not in the same room as one of your opponents. Oozes cannot be moved into or placed in a room with another ooze. They don't really get along well together. Oozes cannot be moved into or placed in the starting point. So the starting point, that junction of 7 hexagon tiles, with one of them being the portal, the one in the center. That is a safe zone from these wandering booze oozes. And when using the effect of a single loot card, oozes cannot enter the same room twice. So if you have it moving from here into here, so you move it one adjacent room, two adjacent rooms, you can't go back to the other adjacent room that you already moved in. It has to just keep on going. And it does have a quote here. Blah, 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 from the Booze Ooze. There you have it, adventurers. That's what comes in the Booze Ooze Invasion expansion pack. It's a fun little pack. I can't wait to have some friends over and we try out Heroes of Barcadia with this expansion in it, because it's just going to be some fun. Anyway, adventure on. All right, adventurers, next up we have the Halloween expansion booster pack. It comes with a few monster cards, a few power-ups. Well, I guess I should call them room tiles, because they're not monster cards. I did open them. Factory plastic is over here. Because, like with the Booze Oozes, I was very excited and I wanted to see what was in here so that I could talk about it, not like an idiot just seeing it for the very first time. And this way I could sound like I know what I'm actually talking about. So, we're going to go ahead and move the oozes off to the side. We have some room tiles. Now, the room tiles introduce something new, a new game mechanic called an ally. Now, that's going to be fun because this particular ally is Can Helsing. He's pretty good at opening up those vampiric cans, I suppose. Then we've got some house rule cards, some power-up cards, and of course, some rules on how to use said expansion pack. So, Halloween Booster Pack. Shuffle the power-ups into the base game deck. Shuffle the house rules with any others you have. And then use the new rooms in this expansion to replace 4 monster rooms and 1 boss room from the base game. So you're not really adding additional tiles, unless you really want to, but that might be just a bigger dungeon. Yes, you can add them without replacing any rooms. If you want to remove this expansion, simply remove all the cards and rooms with the special symbol. That's a little bat off in the corner there. See? At least I hope you can see. Anyway, get the expansion. It is definitely worth it to add to your game. So ally rooms. When a player reveals an ally, they enter the room. Entering an ally room automatically grants a player the following benefits. 1, the player may complete 1 additional action this turn, and the player may roll their die. If they roll an even number, they activate the ally's ability. If the player rolls an odd number, they do not. Once revealed, an ally remains revealed and active for the rest of the game. Each player to enter the ally room will receive the same benefits. A player may only use an ally's benefits once during their turn upon entering the room. Using an ally's benefit does not count as an action. So, what Can Helsing's ability is, he allows you to receive a +8 attack against monsters in your next monster battle only. So not boss battles, not against the Grand Drink Guardian. Oh, that was the side of the package. But in your next monster room battle. Now, next up, we have Count Druncula. very scary boss monster, and you choose your enemy to roll off against. So you pick another player, hopefully somebody who's not going to roll higher on their d20 than you do. Otherwise, you take 15 hit points of damage. Now, Count Druncula does give you, when you defeat him, 3 loot cards and 1 power-up. Now, next up is a team battle. So you get to pick a team. Each of you pick a fellow adventurer and join up as a team to take on this monster. And it is a team battle, and both of you between your 2 d20s have to come up with a 21 in order to beat them. And these are the Fun Dead. And if you defeat them, you get 1 loot card and 1 power up for each of you. Next up is Where Am I, Wolf? Now, he is a monster. You only have to roll a 12 or higher to beat him. Otherwise, it's 10 damage to you. And let's see. Upon victory, you may swap places in the dungeon with an opponent of your choice. Hence the Where Am I, Wolf? And then the last one in this little pack is the Lit Jack-O-Lantern, because Jack-O-Lanterns are more fun when they're lit. And so are most of us. You only need a 7 to beat him. The Lit Jack-O-Lantern also awards 2 loot cards. So, those being the various room tiles that you can get in this expansion, let's take a look at the additional house rules and power-ups. So the house rules that you have, now remember, house rules are an option to use. You don't have to use the house rules. So, first we get Drink or Treat. Now, each time a player uses an action to reveal a room, so they move their glass to the room, flip it over, see what it is, they must first knock on the table. If they forget to do so at any time and another player catches them, you take 5 hit points of damage for forgetting to knock before you enter into someone's room. Next up is Jump Scare. So if a player can scare an opponent and make them jump or scream, that opponent takes 5 hit points of damage. That could be fun on a Halloween party. Next up, blah, blah, blah. During their turn, all players must speak like a vampire, but only during their turn. If they forget to do so at any time during their turn, they take 5 hit points damage. Yeah. Next up, we have Left 4 Dead. Each time a boss is revealed, all players must quickly roll their die until they get a number divisible by 4. The last player to do so takes 5 hit points damage. And then lastly, we have the Alpha Werewolf. The single player with the most hit points is the Alpha Werewolf. They may use each of the following abilities once during their turn. +3 attack in a monster battle. Inflict 5 hit points damage on an opponent. Or draw 1 loot card. That's pretty outstanding. It's a good reason to keep your health bar high. Then we have the power-ups. The power-ups that come with the Halloween expansion, you first have the Rummy's Curse. During your turn, you may place 1 loot card face up on the table. Until your next turn, players may not use that type of loot card because there are multiple copies of most of the loot cards. At the start of your next turn, put the card back into your hand. Well, that could be very helpful, especially if you have a Booze Ooze Invasion loot card and you don't want any more oozes in the dungeon. And if you have this power-up in play, well, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm going to play that and say no one else can play any Booze Ooze cards. But then at the end of your next turn, at the start of your next turn, rather, you take that Booze Ooze loot card and put it back in your hand. So, next up we have Rotgut the Thirstful. If an opponent takes damage, you may roll the die. If you roll an even number, drink the damage in your opponent's place. The opponent must give you 1 loot card for every 5 hit points that you drank. The Shampire's Elixir. Each time you defeat a monster, inflict 5 hit points on an opponent of your choice, and then heal yourself 5 hit points. Then we have Drankenstein's Head. Once during your turn, you may demand that all of your opponents get up and walk around like a reanimated corpse, searching for its detached head. If they choose not to, they take 5 hit points of damage. And then lastly, in this stack of power-ups, we have Restless Spirits. -3 attack in boss battles. Once between turns, this power-up must be passed to the next player to the right with 2 or few power-ups. Okay, so once between turns, this power-up must be passed to the next player to the right with 2 or few power-ups. So if the player to your right has 3 power-ups, well, then they don't get this. And then you're stuck with it. So, might be a good idea that once this gets into play, if it's not already on you, get those power-ups as fast as you can. So, that is the Halloween expansion, adventurers. So, come on over sometime. Let's go on a Heroes of Barcadia adventure here at the game table at our house. Till next time, adventure on. Booze ooze, booze ooze.